All right, let's dive into something pretty groundbreaking today. We're looking at a huge shift in how a country prepares for the worst-case scenario. We're going inside the Getz Institute, a brand new facility that's literally building the future of fire, rescue, and safety in Pakistan.
So let's start with a big question, right? How do you actually train first responders for things that are just too dangerous, too complicated, or honestly too rare to practice for real? I mean, that's the core challenge, and it's exactly what this new approach is all about solving.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to break down how this institute is tackling that challenge head-on. First, we'll talk about the new global standard they're bringing in. Then we get to the cool stuff, their use of virtual reality. After that, we'll look at a unique mobile training unit, see how they're forging new leaders, and then we'll wrap it all up to see what this really means for Pakistan.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the foundation of this whole thing. See, before you can get into all the high-tech training, you absolutely need a world-class standard to build on. And that's exactly what's happening here.
And you're going to hear this phrase a lot, so get used to it. The Getz Institute isn't just a small step up. It's bringing in a whole bunch of ideas that are completely new for the country's emergency services. This isn't just about getting better. It's about starting a whole new chapter. So the key phrase you need to know is NFPA aligned. What on earth does that mean? Well, the NFPA is basically the global gold standard for fire and safety. They write the book on it. So by aligning with them, this institute is saying its training isn't just good enough, it's on par with the best in the world. That means instant credibility and, proof that it actually works.
And their mission really boils down to three simple, powerful pillars: fire, rescue, and safety. It's a complete package, right? It goes way beyond just putting out fires and gets into complex rescues and, just as important, preventative safety to stop disasters from happening in the first place.
All right, now this is where things get really, really cool. Let's talk about the technology, because we're about to see a massive leap into the future with virtual reality.
And this is a huge deal. The Getz Institute is the first to ever use VR for fire and rescue training in Pakistan. But listen, this is not a video game. It's a super sophisticated simulator made to build muscle memory and sharpen your decision-making when you're under insane pressure.
Just look at this comparison. It tells you everything you need to know. Traditional drills, with live fire, are crucial, but they're also risky, super expensive, and you can only practice a few things. VR just flips that whole script. There's zero physical risk, it's way cheaper in the long run, and you can practice a nearly infinite number of emergency situations.
And this is where VR is an absolute game changer. Firefighters can now train for those really rare but incredibly deadly events. I mean, imagine practicing a rescue on the 40th floor of a burning skyscraper, or dealing with a massive fire at a chemical plant, or containing a hazmat spill. You just can't safely do that for real. But in VR, you can drill it over and over and over until the response is second nature.
Okay, so we've got a global standard, we've got futuristic tech, but what about getting it to the people who need it? I mean, how do you make this elite training accessible everywhere? Well, that brings us to our next big idea, rescue training on wheels.
And the innovation just keeps coming. This is another first for Pakistan, a mobile training unit. This isn't just a truck, it's a fully equipped NFPA certified training center that can go literally anywhere in the country. It completely changes the game for accessibility.
And the process itself is just brilliant. Step 1, the unit drives right up to your location. Step 2, the instructors run live, hands-on drills with all the gear on board. And Step 3, the team gets certified right then and there. No travel, no lost time, just top-tier training delivered right to your doorstep. And just think about who this can help. We're talking about taking this training straight to the country's most critical spots. Industrial zones, massive factories, corporate high-rises, even schools and universities can now get their emergency teams trained to a global standard without anyone having to leave the building.
So far, we've been focused on the tactical skills, right? The folks on the front lines. But a great emergency response needs more than just brave action. It needs sharp strategy. And that brings us to our fourth point, forging the leaders of tomorrow.
It's a really important question to ask. In the middle of total chaos, what's the difference between a good commander and a great one? It's not just about courage. It's about being strategic, staying calm, and making the right call when the stakes couldn't be higher.
And that's exactly what this incident command training is all about. This is the big picture stuff. How do you come up with a plan on the fly? How do you work with police, with medical teams, with other agencies? How do you manage all your people and your gear when you're under unbelievable pressure? This is basically the masterclass for commanders. At the end of the day, this part is all about legacy. It's about creating a whole new generation of skilled, strategic leaders who can handle any crisis thrown at them. It's about making sure the country is ready not just for today's emergencies, but for whatever comes next.
All right, so let's put all these pieces together. When you combine international standards, virtual reality, mobile training, and leadership development, what do you actually get? Well, you get a whole new way of thinking about rescue services in Pakistan.
When you lay it out like this, you can really see how it all connects. The NFPA standards give it a credible foundation. The VR lets teams train for the absolute worst-case scenarios safely. The mobile unit makes sure that training can get anywhere. And the command training develops the leaders to orchestrate it all. Any one of these would be a big deal on its own. All of them together? That's a revolution.
And that's really the bottom line here. This whole thing is about so much more than just some fancy new gear or high-tech headsets. It's about fundamentally raising the bar for safety and professionalism across the entire country, creating a safer future for millions of people.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The foundation has been built, the amazing tools are here, and a new, higher standard has been set. The only question left is, what are the brave men and women on the front lines going to achieve with all this? The potential is just massive, and honestly, the future of rescue in Pakistan has never looked brighter.